Princess Anne has not been secretly robbing the royal vault for 50 years. She has not been conducting a hidden jewellery war against Queen Camilla, and there is no evidence that she spent decades removing historic treasures simply to stop her brother's second wife from wearing them. But the truth may be even more fascinating. Long before Camilla became queen, long before Diana entered royal life, and even before Charles's marriage became a national crisis, Anne had already begun assembling one of the most distinctive jewellery collections in the royal family. Some pieces were given to her personally. Others carried the history of vanished empires, royal marriages, and generations of women who came before her. And because several of those jewels appear to be Anne's private property, they genuinely sit beyond the automatic control of the reigning queen. Not because Anne stole them, not because Camilla was defeated in a secret palace battle, but because royal jewellery is governed by a far more complicated system than most headlines suggest. And once that system is understood, the real surprise becomes clear. Wearing a crown does not necessarily mean owning the most meaningful jewels in the family. The British royal family does not possess one enormous jewellery box in which every diamond belongs to the person with the highest title. The crown jewels used for coronations and major constitutional ceremonies are held in connection with the monarchy and pass from one sovereign to the next. Beyond those objects lies the broader royal collection, which includes historic works and heirlooms held by the monarch in right of the crown, alongside items regarded as the sovereign's private property. Then there are personal gifts. A grandmother can give a tiara to a granddaughter. A mother can transfer a family jewel to her daughter. A company can present a royal woman with a piece in recognition of an engagement. And when a jewel becomes someone's private property, the reigning monarch does not necessarily have the right to treat it as though it was simply another item available for general palace use. That is the distinction behind Princess Anne's extraordinary collection. Queen Camilla has access to an impressive range of royal jewels because she is the monarch's wife and the most senior woman performing duties alongside him. She has worn major pieces previously associated with Queen Elizabeth II, including historic tiaras and brooches. She also owns jewellery inherited through her own family. But access is not the same as ownership, and seniority does not automatically transfer a privately owned jewel from one royal woman to another. That reality brings us to one of the most recognizable pieces in Anne's collection, the Cartier Aquamarine Pineflower Tiara. The tiara was originally created for Queen Elizabeth, later known as the Queen Mother. Sources differ over whether King George VI acquired it in 1938 or presented it around the couple's silver wedding anniversary in 1948, but its distinctive design is unmistakable. Large aquamarines rise among diamond elements shaped like pine flowers, creating a jewel that looks less like a conventional royal tiara and more like a work of late Art Deco sculpture. The Queen Mother later gave the tiara to Princess Anne around the time of her 1973 marriage to Captain Mark Phillips. It entered Anne's personal collection and became one of the headpieces she returned to repeatedly over the following decades. Then Anne did something that immediately revealed the difference between owning a jewel and borrowing one. She altered it. During the 1990s, the design was shortened and reconfigured. The central pine flower element was removed and transformed into a brooch, while aquamarines from the original arrangement were reset into other pieces, including a pendant. The result was not the destruction of the tiara, but the creation of an adaptable aquamarine suite that Anne could wear in several different ways. That modification does demonstrate authority over the jewel. A person borrowing an irreplaceable historic tiara for one evening cannot simply order its center to be removed. Anne's ability to redesign the piece supports the reporting that it belongs to her personally, but there is no credible evidence that she altered it as a message to Camilla. There is no verified account of Camilla asking to borrow it. There is no reliable source showing Camilla was refused. And there is no proof that the Queen Mother gave the jewel to Anne because she foresaw Charles eventually marrying Camilla and wanted to keep the aquamarines away from her. The documented story is already powerful enough. A queen gave a granddaughter a major Cartier jewel. The granddaughter made it her own, preserved it, and continued wearing it for more than half a century. The revenge story is an addition. The ownership is the fact. And the next tiara in Anne's collection makes that independence even clearer. The Festoon Tiara did not arrive through a centuries-old royal inheritance. It was presented to Anne by the Worldwide Shipping Group in 1973, the same year as her first marriage. Its design consists of diamond swags and upright elements that create the impression of a brilliant wall of light. Unlike a jewel lent for a particular state banquet, the Festoon Tiara has been widely described as a personal gift and part of Anne's private collection. She has worn it regularly throughout her adult life, making it perhaps the clearest symbol of her ability to attend a formal event without depending entirely on a palace loan. That independence later extended to her family. When Peter Phillips married Autumn Kelly in 2008, the bride wore the Festoon Tiara. Anne did not need the crown to assign her future daughter-in-law an unfamiliar headpiece. She could make one of her own jewels available for the wedding. That moment was important, but not because it proved Anne was operating a rival court. It demonstrated something much more practical. A privately owned royal jewel can remain part of family life without being controlled by the monarch's central collection. Anne could wear it. She could lend it, and eventually, subject to her own legal arrangements, she may determine where it goes next. That is genuine independence, although it is very different from the claim that Anne had to protect herself from Camilla controlling every palace diamond. The next jewel carries an even deeper family meaning. Princess Alice's Meander tiara began with Prince Philip's mother, Princess Alice of Greece and Denmark. Its geometric Greek key design is unlike the floral and scroll-heavy tiaras often associated with the British court. At its center is a diamond laurel wreath, surrounded by the Meander pattern connected with ancient Greek design. Princess Alice gave the tiara to Princess Elizabeth as a wedding gift in 1947. Queen Elizabeth II was not publicly associated with wearing it, and in 1972 she gave it to her daughter Anne. Since then, it has become one of the Princess Royal's most recognizable pieces. The symbolism is undeniable. The tiara traveled from Prince Philip's mother to his wife, and then to his only daughter. When Zara Phillips married Mike Tyndall in 2011, Anne lent the Meander tiara to her daughter, allowing another direct descendant of Princess Alice and Prince Philip to wear it on her wedding day. That continuity is emotionally powerful. But once again, it does not prove the jewel was transferred as part of a plan to keep it away from Camilla. The Queen gave it to Anne in 1972. At that time, Charles had not married Diana. Camilla was married to Andrew Parker Bowles, and nobody could reliably have predicted the sequence of events that would eventually make Camilla queen. The dates matter. They expose the central weakness in the idea of a 50-year anti-Camilla strategy. Many of Anne's important jewels entered her collection before Camilla's future position was imaginable. Turning those transfers into acts of revenge requires motives that the historical record does not provide. What the record does show is Queen Elizabeth placing meaningful family objects with a daughter known for continuity, discipline, and repeated use. Anne did not hide the Meander tiara in darkness. She wore it. She preserved it. And she placed it on her daughter's head. That is not jewellery warfare. It is dynastic inheritance functioning through the female line. The same pattern becomes more dramatic when the story moves beyond Britain to Imperial Russia. Princess Anne has frequently worn a remarkable 4-row pearl choker separated by diamond bars and secured by a large sapphire and diamond clasp. The piece is associated with Empress Maria Feodorovna of Russia, the Danish-born mother of Tsar Nicholas II. After the fall of the Russian imperial world, jewels connected to the Romanovs were dispersed through inheritance and sale. Queen Mary became famous for acquiring historic pieces from royal relatives, and the choker eventually entered the British royal collection before being passed to Queen Elizabeth II. Reports state that Elizabeth later gave the choker to Anne in the early 1970s. Anne has continued wearing it for decades, including at major evening events and royal celebrations. The jewel is visually extraordinary. Rows of pearls form a rigid collar. 20 diamond bars break the surface into precise sections, and the sapphire clasp adds a deep flash of imperial blue. But the most compelling element is not the idea that Camilla has been humiliated by never wearing it. It is the survival of the jewel itself. A necklace connected with the final decades of Imperial Russia moved through exile. royal acquisition, and British inheritance before appearing on the neck of the late Queen's only daughter. That journey needs no invented confrontation. There is also no reliable evidence that Camilla requested the choker or that Anne deliberately refused her. The claim that Anne wears it to remind Camilla of blood hierarchy is interpretation, not fact. Anne may wear it because she likes it. She may wear it because it was given to her by her mother. She may value its history or its connection to relatives across European royal families. The private motive has not been publicly established, and that is a line responsible reporting cannot cross. A jewel can carry political symbolism without the wearer privately intending every meaning commentators attach to it. The same caution is necessary when discussing Queen Mary's City of London pearl and diamond choker. Queen Mary received the elaborate necklace as a wedding gift in 1893. Its design combines pearls with a dense diamond lattice, producing the kind of high, rigid collar closely associated with late Victorian and Edwardian royal fashion. Princess Anne has worn the choker publicly, including in the early 2000s and again at a recent state banquet. Her appearances revived a jewel that Queen Elizabeth II rarely wore. But public reporting does not provide the same clear personal gift history for this choker that exists for the Festoon, Meander, and Pineflower tiaras. Anne wearing it does not automatically prove she permanently owns it. Royal women frequently wear jewels on loan. Queen Elizabeth lent pieces to Diana, Catherine, Camilla, and other family members without transferring legal ownership. Therefore, saying that Anne quietly claimed Queen Mary's choker, removed it from the vault, or permanently blocked Camilla from it goes beyond the available evidence. The confirmed fact is that Anne has worn it. The ownership position is less publicly transparent, and that uncertainty reveals another important truth about royal jewels. The palace does not publish a complete, easily searchable register showing the current legal owner of every tiara, necklace, and brooch. Some provenances are well documented. Others depend on specialist books, exhibitions, photographic history, and informed reporting. The line between personal property, crown heirloom, and long-term loan can remain unclear to the public. That uncertainty creates the perfect environment for dramatic claims. If Anne wears a necklace once associated with Queen Mary, a narrator can declare that she secretly seized it. If Camilla has never worn it, the absence can be presented as proof that she was refused. If a jewel entered Anne's collection decades ago, the transfer can be reframed as a plan to defeat a woman who had not yet become part of the royal institution. But absence is not evidence. Camilla cannot wear every royal jewel. Neither could Queen Elizabeth. Neither can Catherine. Some pieces may be too fragile. Some may be reserved for particular people. Some are personal property. Some may simply not match the wearer's preferences. And some may remain unworn for decades before suddenly returning to public view. This is why the phrase royal vault can be misleading. It suggests one room, one key, and one queen deciding who receives every diamond. The reality is dispersed. The crown jewels are protected ceremonial objects. Royal collection pieces carry different legal and historical statuses. Personal jewels remain with individuals. Family trusts, estates and wills may affect others. And privately purchased pieces sit outside the institutional collection entirely. Queen Camilla, therefore, does not own every jewel she wears, but that does not make her merely a mannequin. Nor does it mean Princess Anne has stripped her of meaningful royal history. Camilla was crowned in 2023 using Queen Mary's crown, altered for the ceremony and set with diamonds connected to Queen Elizabeth II. She has since worn major tiaras from the late Queen's collection, including the Burmese ruby tiara and the aquamarine ribbon tiara. She has also used the Greville honeycomb tiara for years and possesses personal family pieces such as the Cubit Shan tiara. The claim that Camilla wears the imperial state crown is also incorrect. That crown belongs to the sovereign's ceremonial role and has traditionally been worn by the monarch, not by the queen consort as her normal state banquet headpiece. Camilla's constitutional position gives her access to extraordinary jewellery, but it does not erase the property rights of other family members. Anne's personal collection and Camilla's official access can exist at the same time. One does not require the defeat of the other. This becomes especially clear when examining the relationship between Anne's jewelry and her public identity. The Princess Royal is known for repeating clothing and wearing the same jewels across many decades. She does not appear to treat historic pieces as objects that must remain untouched for fear of looking old-fashioned. She combines them with dresses and coats she has owned since the 1960s and 1970s, sometimes creating appearances separated by more than half a century. That consistency gives her jewelry something no palace loan can manufacture overnight: personal history. A tiara seen on Anne in her youth appears again when she is a grandmother. A necklace worn during Queen Elizabeth's reign returns under King Charles. A piece inherited through Prince Philip's family later appears on Zara at her wedding. The power comes from repetition. The audience begins to associate the object with the woman rather than merely with the institution. That may explain why Anne's jewels can feel more personal than some of the enormous diamonds worn by whoever happens to occupy the highest position. Camilla's jewels often communicate office. Anne's jewels frequently communicate biography. One is not necessarily more valuable than the other, but they tell different stories. Camilla represents the current reign and wears objects that connect her visually with previous queens. Anne represents continuity across reigns and wears objects attached to her mother, father, grandmother, children, and her own 5 decades of royal service. That difference is real. The supposed secret feud is not required to make it compelling. There is also a practical reason Anne's collection matters. A royal title is determined by birth, marriage, and constitutional position. A private jewel is property. Titles can change. Public roles can shrink. A monarch can decide which family members attend an event. But a tiara personally given to Anne does not suddenly become Camilla's because Charles became king. Nor does it automatically become Catherine's when William eventually succeeds him. Unless Anne chooses to transfer, lend, or leave the jewel in a particular way, its future depends upon her own arrangements. That may be the true power inside her jewelry box. Not revenge. Control. The Festoon Tiara does not require palace permission because it was a personal gift. The Aquamarine Pineflower Tiara could be redesigned because it belonged to Anne. The Meander tiara could pass temporarily from mother to daughter because Anne was able to lend it to Zara. Those decisions occurred quietly, but they were not secret attacks. They were exercises of ownership. And ownership creates a form of independence even inside one of the most hierarchical families in the world. Still, one final question remains. Could Queen Camilla ever wear one of Anne's privately owned tiaras? In principle, Anne could lend a personal jewel to anyone she chose. Royal women have borrowed pieces from relatives throughout modern history. There is nothing inevitable about a jewel remaining with one wearer forever. But no public evidence currently shows Camilla requesting Anne's Pineflower, Festoon, or Meander tiaras. There is no verified palace refusal. There is no documented argument. And there is no credible proof that Anne guards her safe specifically to keep Camilla away. Therefore, presenting those jewels as trophies in a private war transforms possibility into invented certainty. The real relationship between Anne and Camilla is known only to the women themselves and those close to them. Publicly, Anne has recognized Camilla's position and has appeared beside her at family and official events. That does not reveal every private feeling, but it contradicts the most extreme claim that Anne refuses to accept her as queen. The two women also occupy very different roles. Camilla is the monarch's wife. Anne is the monarch's sister. Camilla's position is connected to Charles's reign. Anne's identity is rooted in birth, a lifetime of service and direct descent from Queen Elizabeth II and Prince Philip. Jewelry reflects that difference. Camilla wears pieces that emphasize her present constitutional status. Anne wears pieces that connect generations of her own family history. Neither woman needs to remove the other for those identities to remain distinct. And that is why the greatest jewelry heist in royal history is the wrong story. Princess Anne did not sneak through steel doors ahead of Camilla. She did not empty the crown's shelves. She did not take objects that legally belonged to the state and lock them inside a private fortress. Instead, over many decades, she received gifts, inherited family pieces, borrowed other jewels, and built a recognizable collection around objects she repeatedly wore. Some undoubtedly belong to her. For others, the precise legal position is not publicly confirmed. But the pieces with clear personal ownership really are outside Camilla's automatic control. That conclusion is dramatic enough without manufacturing hatred. Camilla may wear the jewels of a queen. Anne owns jewels that tell the story of being a daughter. The queen's role gives Camilla access to institutional grandeur. Anne's history gives her control over objects with intensely personal connections. Camilla's pieces may represent the crown at this moment. Anne's pieces connect the Queen Mother, Queen Elizabeth II, Prince Philip, Imperial Russia, her 2 marriages, her children, and more than 50 years of public service. And eventually, the most consequential decision may not concern who wears those jewels today. It may concern where Anne sends them tomorrow. Will the Meander tiara remain with Zara's branch of the family? Could the Festoon Tiara pass through Peter Phillips's descendants? Might the Pineflower suite remain together, or be divided among future generations? Could some pieces return to the central royal collection? Those decisions have not been publicly announced. But if the jewels are Anne's private property, their future may depend more on her wishes than on the person sitting beside the king. That is the quiet truth behind the diamonds. Queen Camilla has not been robbed. Princess Anne did not conduct a heist. But Anne does possess something rank alone cannot guarantee: a jewellery collection shaped by personal ownership, family trust, and decades of history before Camilla ever became queen. And in a monarchy where almost everything appears to belong to the crown, the most powerful words may not be Her Majesty. They may simply be, "This is mine."